You ever have one of those moments where in the blink of an eye, everything you thought you knew about your neighborhood just evaporates? That was me. One October evening, standing in my own front yard, tired as hell after 12 hours running down real criminals, watching the kind of nonsense unfold that you just can't make up. My daughter, Sophia, 15, was sitting on the porch with her homework and her rescue inhaler, her actual lifeline since she was 8 years old, not some trendy accessory. I hadn't even made it inside to change out of my detective gear when the day went from routine to insane. I guess I should have known something was up when I saw Linda Morrison, our new HOA terror, marching across the street with that stupid clipboard like she was the sheriff in some spaghetti western. Linda had only been in the neighborhood for 3 months, and she already had everyone. Mrs. Chin, the Johnsons, even the mailman walking on eggshells. If there was a handbook for how to be the worst neighbor ever, Linda could have written it. You know, the type hair so stiff it'd break your comb, smile sharp as a knife, always with a fresh complaint ready. I swear the day she moved in, the neighborhood's collective blood pressure went up 20 points. I barely had time to drop my bag when Linda started shouting full on across the lawn, "Young lady, you know vaping's against HOA rules, don't you? Like no greeting, no questions, just accusation, first, facts later, if ever." Sophia looked up, startled and wheezing a little from the cool air, clutching her inhaler. She tried to explain calm as she could. "Ma'am, this isn't a vape. It's my inhaler. I have severe asthma," but Linda just got redder in the face, shaking like she'd just caught the Joker robbing a bank. Don't ask me why I still tried to reason with her. Maybe it's the cop in me, but I stepped in, tried to keep my tone even. "Ma'am, that's my daughter's prescription. She needs it. This isn't what you—" But Linda wasn't hearing any of it. "I'm confiscating this illegal device," she yelled, snatching the inhaler right out of Sophia's hands. She threw it down hard. The sound that thing made as it shattered on the concrete, God, it was like someone breaking glass inside my chest. Albuterol sprayed out everywhere, that harsh hospital smell flooding the porch. Sophia dropped to her knees, gasping, hands trembling as she tried to pick up the broken pieces. She was already struggling to breathe, panic making it worse. Let me tell you something just broke in me. Not just as a mom, but as someone who spent 15 years locking up people for a lot less. I went from 0 to 100, Linda Morrison. You just committed assault on a minor destruction of medical property and potential child endangerment. You're under citizen's arrest. And when I said that, Linda's face went from crimson to the color of spoiled milk. "You can't arrest me. I was just enforcing—" I didn't let her finish. "I'm Detective Sarah Martinez, Metro Police." Flashed my badge right in her face. You'd think I'd thrown holy water on a vampire the way she dropped her clipboard and started babbling. Sophia, meanwhile, was getting worse, her lips going pale, breaths coming in ragged little gasps. I was on the phone with 911 trying to keep her calm, but my hands were shaking. 6 minutes later, the ambulance screeched up, lights bouncing off the trees, followed by 2 patrol cars. Officer Johnson, good guy, seen it all, took one look at Linda and said, "Ma'am, stand up, hands behind your back." Linda tried her little speech about just enforcing HOA rules, but Johnson cut her off. "You don't get to put your hands on anyone, especially not a kid. What you did was a felony." The paramedics worked fast, got Sophia on a nebulizer, gave her oxygen, but still she needed to go to the hospital. Riding with her in the back of that ambulance, I couldn't stop replaying the whole thing, how quickly it had all gone sideways, how fragile it all felt. Linda Morrison had no idea what she'd just stepped into, messing with a cop's kid. Sure, but more than that, she'd messed with a mother's world. At the hospital, Dr. Patel, he's been treating Sophia for years, was furious. Someone destroyed her inhaler. Do they understand that could have killed her? Yeah, that happened. We spent hours getting her stabilized, making sure the reaction didn't spiral. Meanwhile, I made sure every detail was documented. Photos, witness statements, police report, the works. I wanted Linda to answer for every second she stole from my daughter's safety. And I wasn't stopping there. I called the HOA board, demanded an emergency meeting. Mr. Williams, the president, was mortified. Detective Martinez, Linda's actions do not reflect this community. They scheduled a meeting for Thursday. By then, everyone had heard about what happened. The room was packed, neighbors looking at me like I was about to announce the second coming. I held up the pieces of Sophia's inhaler, explained the cost, the wait for insurance approval, the risk. This wasn't a toy, it was life or death. The air was thick with anger and disbelief. Mrs. Chen even stood up and said, "Linda's been harassing everyone. This was bound to happen." Linda, pale and silent for once, sat in the front row. When the board asked her to speak, her voice was so shaky it barely made it past the first row. "I thought she was vaping. I was just trying to protect Patricia Wells." The board's bulldog cut her off by assaulting a child, by destroying life-saving medication. The decision was unanimous. Linda, stripped of any authority, banned from approaching residents' kids and warned that one more incident would get her kicked out for good. But justice had a longer reach. Linda was facing 4 charges: assault on a minor, destruction of medical property, child endangerment, and harassment. The story spread like wildfire. Local news picked it up. The headline made me laugh for a second: HOA enforcer arrested for destroying child's asthma medication. Linda's employer dropped her a week later. Guess neighborhood vigilante doesn't look so good on a resume. By the time the trial rolled around, Linda's lawyer tried to spin it. She thought she was doing the right thing, all that. But the evidence was bulletproof. Doorbell footage showed everything. Medical experts explained how dangerous Sophia's condition really was. Dr. Patel straight up told the jury, "Taking a rescue inhaler from an asthmatic is like stealing insulin from a diabetic." The jury was out less than an hour. Guilty on all charges. The judge wasn't gentle. 6 months in jail, 2 years probation, mandatory community service with medical advocacy groups, restitution for all our medical expenses. And we hit her with a civil suit. My attorney went for the full amount, destroyed property, pain and suffering, punitive damages. Linda's insurance caved fast, didn't want this circus in front of a jury. After all that, the neighborhood changed for the better. The new HOA leaders launched real training about medical devices, zero tolerance for harassment, real compassion for people living with invisible conditions. Sophia bounced back tougher than ever, carrying 2 inhalers now and speaking at school about her experience, reminding people not to judge what they don't understand. "Some people make assumptions about things they don't get," she told her class. "But standing up for what's right, that's how you make things better. Proud doesn't even begin to cover it." Linda moved away after she got outworded. She started over somewhere else, maybe learned a thing or two, though, who knows. Our community feels different now, like people look out for each other, not just for things to write up in some HOA log. That day, Linda smashed Sophia's inhaler. It felt like the world was collapsing. But you know what? It brought folks together in a way barbecues and block parties never did. Sometimes the thing you think will break you ends up making you stronger. Sophia's inhaler still beeps every morning now. It's a sound of hope, not fear. So, yeah, that's my story, justice, chaos, and a whole lot of lessons about community. Now let me throw it to you. Was I right to go after Linda as hard as I did? What would you have done in my shoes? Where's the line between protecting the community and just plain crossing it? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear your take, because honestly, stories like this, we all have a part in how they end.